Greetings, grade 4s. Lovely to have you with me again. If you've ever looked at that picture in the background and wondered where that is, well, that's my two dogs, Dash and Pirate. Pirate being the one with the patch on one of his eyes. And that's on the top of one of the mountains overlooking False Bay. So it's the silver mine east side, looking down. And that was one of our morning sunrise runs. Anyway, now over to maths. The normal reminders at the start of the lesson. I'm Mr. T, and you can email me grade4@worksheetcloud.com if you have any questions, if there's anything you want to cover, things like that. If you spot a mistake in one of my memos, which does happen on occasion, I'm human too. Okay, and also, after the lesson, click on the link above, do the worksheet, make sure that you've got today's concept, which is an important one, and if you get this one today, it's going to make a whole lot of things in maths quite a lot easier. The next sheet, as per normal, is your mental arithmetic for the day, us sharpening your skills, getting you to get those things so quickly that they don't slow down the rest of your maths. So 10 questions, 40 seconds, you just write down the answers and we'll go through them immediately. And go. Time's up. Let's see how you did. 6 plus 15 is 21. 7 plus 8 is 15. 9 plus 6 is 15. 3 plus 18 is 21. 7 plus 14 is 21. 11 plus 12 is 23. 13 plus 8 is 21. 3 plus 8 is 11. 9 plus 7 is 16. 15 plus 6 is 21. If you missed any of those, just rewind quickly and watch the video again and mark it the second time I go through it. Okay, so today we're doing length. It's the aspect of measurement, one of the aspects of measurement. The reason why I said earlier, if you get this, it's going to make a whole lot of things easier, is the concepts of measurement are all the same, and we've got some things that actually work in all of the aspects of measurement. And we're going to learn one of those today. And when we do the other kinds of measurement, like capacity, you'll see how it relates and how it can help us. Okay, so let's have a look at what our goals for the lesson are. So our goals are, first of all, to be introduced to the standard metric units of length. Metric is one kind of system. We also get the imperial system, which uses other things, but in South Africa we use the metric units. So then we're going to know about some of those other units of length that exist, but we don't really need to know them. What we need to know is the metric ones. And then by the end of the lesson, being able to convert between millimeters, centimeters, and meters, and hopefully also kilometers, but let's see how it goes. Maybe I should make myself big again. I have a ruler over here. It's a steel ruler. What's quite nice about this kind of ruler is that my naught is exactly on the end where my finger is. So when I'm measuring, I measure from the very end of my ruler, whereas most of the plastic ones you have at school, the naught is a little bit further in. But what's important to remember is that you start measuring from where the naught is and not from the end of the ruler, unless you've got a ruler like mine where the naught is at the end of the ruler. You'll also notice that on my ruler, the top of the ruler is showing centimeters, and the bottom of the ruler has got bigger measurements. That's in inches. We're not looking at inches. Inches is a measurement that we don't use. The centimeters is the metric unit. You might have your own ruler from school with you, or your own ruler which has on one side it's got centimeters, on the other millimeters. And what you might notice is that if you click on, or if you look on on the one and then on the other. On the one side, it's showing, say, for example, 3 centimeters, and then opposite, it's showing 30 millimeters. And each time, if you look at the millimeters, it's the same as the centimeters, but it's just got a 0 on the end, which is something to note, which we'll come to now. Okay, so I've gone through the goals for the lesson. So we actually have a whole lot of different units of measurement. And you only need to know the ones that I've highlighted in yellow. The other ones are there, but my feeling is that if you don't know all of them, it actually makes it harder. And so I'm going to teach them all to you, but just know that the ones that you need to know are kilometers, meters, centimeters, and millimeters. Also noticing that the word meter is on the end of each of those other words. So our base unit is meter, and then the other ones all have meter on them. So kilometers is the longest one we have in this. Then hectometers, then decameters, meters, decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters. So centimeters, millimeters, meters, and kilometers, you've probably come across those words lots of times. And those are the ones we use in our speech every day. I would be surprised if all of you if any of you had seen all 3 of these, unless you've got a teacher who's pushing you and who knows these things. At the end, you can see that I've got the abbreviation, the way we represent it, the symbol. So the symbol for meters is M, kilometers is KM, they're both small. Hectometers, HM, both small. Decameters is a capital D. It's the only one with a capital, and the reason for that is we've got 2 Ds. So deci is the smaller of the 2. It gets a small d, and deca is a big one, so it gets a big D, capital D. M, decimeters, it's pronounced like an S, like December, and centimeters and millimeters. Okay, so for remembering this, I've got a mnemonic, which you might have come across that word before. A mnemonic is when you've got like a little rhyme or a little poem that you say, and the first letters of those words give you the first letters of some other things. So K for king, the K is for kilometers, H for hectometers, D for decameters, and so on. So this is one I've got. King Henry's daughters make delicious caramel muffins. I don't know why it's King Henry. He was an English king. It's just something that got stuck in my head, and that's what I've got. I find the best mnemonics are the ones that you make up for yourself. So if you've got time, I really would suggest that you make up your own little rhyme that helps you remember the order that these come in. Because if you've got the order that they come in, it's going to make your life so much easier in terms of converting them from one to the other. So that's actually what our lesson's about, is how do we go from meters, if we're given a measurement in meters, how do we write that measurement in centimeters or in millimeters, and so on. So having a look over here, we can see that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. I don't know if you knew there were 100 centimeters in a meter, but there are. So if you took your ruler and you lined up 3 of them in a row, or if you had a meter long ruler, you'd have 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. And 1,000 millimeters in a meter. And I could teach you that if you've got 100 centimeters, it's a meter. So if you've got 200 centimeters, it's 2 meters, and so on and so forth. But if I show you the next slide, maybe it'll become a little bit easier. So have a look over here. If I've got 1 kilometer, that is equal to 10 hectometers. That is equal to 1 kilometer is equal to 100 decameters. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. 1 kilometer is 10,000 decimeters. 1 kilometer is 100,000 centimeters, and 1 kilometer is 1,000,000 millimeters. Now, I'm not expecting you to memorize all of those, but what I did want you to notice is that each time we move down a level, so each time we go from a bigger measurement to a smaller measurement, we put an extra 0 on the end. And that's important, because then all we need to do is we need to put an extra, we need to find out how many levels we're going down and put that many zeros on the end. So if I was going from meters to centimeters, that's 2 jumps or 2 levels, so I would put 2 zeros on the end. So let's have a look at that. I had 1 meter, I went 2 levels down to centimeters, and I put 2 zeros on the end. Or if I wanted to know how many millimeters in a meter, well, that's 1, 2, 3 levels, so I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 zeros on. So you can see how we need to know the other ones, otherwise we will struggle. We can also go the other way. If I want to go from centimeters to meters, I say, well, that's 1, 2 levels up, and I'm going to take away 2 zeros. So take away that 0, take away that 0, and I'm left with just a 1. So that's super useful. So that's why I'm going to teach you all of these, and we're going to remember all of these so that when it comes to actually working it out, all we need to do is write this down on the side, and then we see how many jumps we're doing, and then we either put the zeros on or take the zeros off. So that mnemonic again, mnemonic, it's a funny word. It's spelt with an M, M-N-E-M-O-N-I-C, mnemonic. King Henry's daughters make delicious caramel muffins. Now take a moment and see if you can remember what each of the letters stand for. So what was the K for? What do you think? If you guessed kilometers, you'd be correct. The next two I'm going to give you, if you've remembered them, that's awesome. But if you haven't, not to worry. So H is for hectometers, D is for decameters. M you should know. All of these words that we're looking at end with that. Meters. The next one, delicious, the D is for decimeters, another one you don't need to know, but the last two you should know because those are on your ruler. C for centimeter and M for, yep, millimeter. Let's jump across to our whiteboard. So first up, take a moment, see if you can remember the order that they come. See if you've got your mnemonic. How did that little poem go? King Henry's daughters make delicious caramel muffins. So in fact, I'm not going to put in all of the letters. All I'm going to write down is the symbols. Kilometers, hectometers, decameters, meters, decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters. Right. So what I'm going to put in here before we start with some examples is when we go up, when we go from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, we take away zeros. And when we go from a big unit to a small unit, we put zeros on. Now, I deliberately said put zeros on and not add zeros because 1 plus 0 is 1. And while it's a little bit of a silly thing, because I know when you said adding a 0, you meant put a 0 on the end, I am quite fussy about my mathematical language. So we're not adding a 0, we're putting a 0 on the end. And when I say take away a 0, I mean removing a 0, we're not minusing a 0. I should perhaps have written that, although take away is not quite the same as minus, which is the opposite of add. Okay, so let's say that your teacher gave you this problem here, and your teacher said you have 5 meters. So there's 5 meters, and you need to make it into centimeters. All right, so let's go and have a look at how we're going to do that. All right, so first up, let's have a look. Are we going up the list or are we going down the list? So we're going from meters, and we're going to centimeters. So that means we're going down the list, so we're going to be putting zeros on. We're going down 2 steps, so we're going to put 2 zeros on. So we put 2 zeros on the end of 5, and we get 500. So 5 meters is the same as 500 centimeters. Let's have a look at centimeters. All right, so centimeters, for 7 centimeters, and we're going to millimeters. Well, that is centimeters, that's millimeters, so we're going this way, so we're going to put zeros on. We went 1 level down, so we're going to put 1 0 on the end. So that looks more like a 6 than a 0. So we've got 70 millimeters. Let's have a look at the next one. Right, so we have 3 meters, and we want to find out how much that is in millimeters. I'm not supposed to be drawing, I'm supposed to be moving. All right, so we want to go from meters to millimeters. So going from meters to millimeters. So meters we find up here in the middle. Millimeters is down there, so that's going this way. Putting zeros on, we go 3 levels down. So we put 3 zeros on. So 3 meters is equal to 3,000 millimeters. All right. Now we're going to have a look at these. So now we're going to go from millimeters to centimeters. So let's have a look at our list again. So we are going to go from, just clear those away. We're going from millimeters to centimeters. So that's 1 level up. When we're going up, we take away zeros. So take away the 1 0, and we're left with 8 centimeters. All right. Next, we're going from millimeters to meters. Let me rather just make this smaller so we can see things at the same time. All right. Okay. So we're going from 70,000 millimeters to meters. So we are going from here millimeters to here meters. So it's 1, 2, 3 levels up. Take away 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3, and we're left with 70 meters. So 70,000 millimeters is equal to 70 meters. And finally, we're going from centimeters to meters. So from centimeters to meters, that's 2 jumps up. Take away 2 zeros, and we're left with 910 meters. Okay. So we now have to have a look at one more. I thought I'd throw in some with the kilometers. All right, so we've got 50,000 meters, and we need to go to kilometers. So 50,000 meters, there's meters to kilometers. 1, 2, 3 jumps. We take away 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3, and we're left with 50 kilometers. It's a nice long run, or a nice long ride. Okay, so next one. We're going from centimeters to kilometers. So centimeters down here to kilometers. So that's, wow, that's a big jump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps up. So that's going to take away 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm left with 130 kilometers. So 13 million centimeters. Is that right? Yeah, 13 million centimeters is equal to 130 kilometers. And finally, we're going from 400 million millimeters to kilometers. So millimeters is all the way at the bottom. Kilometers is all the way at the top. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jumps up, which means we have to take away 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we now get that our total distance in kilometers is 400 kilometers. All right, now you've had a chance to look at moving up and down. In the examples we've done so far, I've nice and neatly put them all together in groups, so they were all going in the same direction. So the first 3 were going adding zeros, the next 3 were taking away zeros, then next 3 were also taking away zeros. This time, I'm going to give you a few to do on your own. So let's see how well you can do with these. Right, I'll give you a few minutes to try and get through all of those on the right, 1 to 9. So remember to check which unit you're starting on and whether you're going to add zeros or take zeros away. And when you've decided that, see how many levels it is to see how many zeros you either take away or add. feel like there should be some music on in the background, but I don't have any. Maybe you have some music on at home. I'm not going to sing. I don't think that's enough time for anyone to have finished it with full attention, but if you haven't, just pause. I can't sit here and stare at a computer any longer. I'm going to go through them, but you just pause and start it again when you're ready, when you've finished all of them. Okay, so let's look at the first one. We're going from meters to centimeters, which means we're going to add on zeros. We're going 2 levels, we add on 2 zeros. 9 meters is equal to 900 centimeters. Next one, we're going from kilometers to centimeters. That's a lot of jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps. We are going down, so we're putting zeros on. So we put 5 zeros on it. So we got the answer is 500,000 centimeters. Let me just clear that away so long. Having a look at the next one, we're going from millimeters to centimeters. So that's going up. It's one jump. We're going to take away 1 0. So 900 millimeters is equal to 90 centimeters. Next one, 500. We're going from millimeters to meters. So millimeters to meters, that's 1, 2, 3 jumps. We're going up, so we're taking away zeros. So take away 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3, and we're left with 5 meters. Oh, it's not quite lined up. There we go, 5 meters. For the last one, or no, not the last one, the next one, we're looking at 8 kilometers to meters. So kilometers to meters, we're putting zeros on. 1, 2, 3, we put 3 zeros on. 8,000 meters. 3,000 centimeters to meters. Centimeters to meters, we're taking zeros away. 1, 2, we take 2 away. 1, 2, and we're left with 300 meters. Meters to kilometers. Meters to kilometers, we're taking zeros away. 1, 2, 3, we take 3 zeros away. 1, 2, 3, and we're left with 45 kilometers. Next one, centimeters to kilometers. Centimeters to kilometers, we're taking zeros away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and we're left with 80 kilometers. Last one, we've got millimeters to kilometers. Millimeters to kilometers, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jumps. Take away 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're left with 150 kilometers. Right, I hope that is going to make converting between lengths super easy. So the key is you've just got to remember this mnemonic, or your own mnemonic, your own one, your own version of it. But King Henry's daughters make delicious caramel muffins. Kilometers, hectometers, decameters, meters, decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters. And then just remember that when we go from a small unit to a big unit, going that way, we take away zeros, and we can go from a big unit to a small unit. That way, we put zeros on the end. Now, what is very cool is that this works with decimals as well. It's just that you haven't done decimals in grade 4, so I'm not going to teach it to you with decimals, but it works super well. And once you've got this mnemonic, the only thing you really need to change when you get to liters, the rest of the poem kind of stays the same. Is the only thing you need to change is this middle one here from meter to liter. So, for example, if we're looking capacity, we'll have kiloliters, hectoliters, decaliters, liters, deciliters, centiliters, and milliliters. However, the only ones we regularly use there are milliliters, liters, and sometimes kiloliters. But it's just that we use less. But the same thing applies. The same, moving up, we put on zeros, moving down, we take away zeros. So once you've got this, it's going to make a lot of maths very much easier. So please take the time to do that. Thanks for joining us, grade 4s. Just a reminder, if you'd like to email me, it's grade4@worksheetcloud.com, and after the lesson, click on that all-important link above, do the worksheet, and make sure that you've got this, because this is important. It's one of those ones that comes up every year. It's one of those ones that often people lose marks on because they haven't understood, but once you've got it, it's there for life. Have a great day, grade 4s. Goodbye.